Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Trevor and welcome to a quick look of the Electro Voice RE20. I'm pretty excited to finally have my hands on this microphone. This is kind of like, at least for me, this is like the end game of voiceover microphones. It's complete overkill and I don't think anyone really needs something like this as far as voiceover stuff goes. I'm sure that you could go even higher and get like a Neumann U87 or something, but I kind of like for voiceover stuff, this is a pretty good golden standard here. This is the legendary RE20 broadcast microphone, similar to the SM7B in that it is also a dynamic microphone, so it doesn't need phantom power like condensers do. It has really great noise rejection. I'm not sure if it's exactly as good as the SM7B as far as noise rejection goes. There's someone who did really good comparisons about that, which I'll link below. But to me, it just has a much better sound on my voice personally. So it also is quite a bit more expensive than the SM7B. The SM7B comes in at around, I think, $350 USD, whereas the RE20 here is $450. So I think it's a full $100 more. But I do need to stress that I feel like it's completely worth it. So one thing to note is that I usually actually have this with a foam cover on, but I'm also running a bunch of extra signal processing with my 528E. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that all off, and we're going to come back and show the comparison. In fact, I'll turn it off right now live. You're going to hear some crackling and stuff. That's totally okay. It's just the sound coming out of the 528E, which is my voice processor here. So I'm going to turn off, from right to left, we're going to turn off voice symmetry. We're going to turn off EQ. We're going to turn off compression and my downward expander, which is kind of like a light gate. We're going to turn off the de-esser, and that's going to be everything. I'm going to actually back away from the microphone a little more now than I was before, because since I don't have compression on, it might peak a little bit here and there, because I'm kind of cranking the gain a good amount and then adding some compression to turn it down. So it sounds a little bit it should sound actually a lot different, mainly because I take out a lot of the low end. To me, the microphone by itself, it sounds great, but if you're kind of close to the microphone like this, it's going to be a little. For me, it's too much low end. I've been listening to a lot of Radiolab and a lot of NPR, and I've actually taken quite a bit of liking to the kind of clarity sound, a sound that emphasizes clarity rather than like a big boomy voice. And I don't really have a big boomy voice by nature, so microphones that beef it up, to me, it sounds kind of weird. So I actually take out quite a bit of the low end, like 3 or 4 decibels, right around like 120 hertz or something like that. So this microphone also has a high pass switch, which I'm going to go ahead and switch off now. It's basically a roll off right around, I think it's around 100 hertz or so. I'm going to show you guys the graph of what the microphone is like with and without the roll off switch. So we're going to turn that on right now, and you're right away going to notice that quite a bit of the low end in my voice is now gone. I know that NPR, they actually use Neumann U87s, and they actually use the high pass. They use the roll off switch on all of their microphones. So they do that because taking out all the low end from the voice allows your voice to kind of cut above low-end noise that might be going on in the background. They know a lot of their listeners listen to NPR in the car because radio stations are taking the NPR feed or whatever. And so that car noise is kind of that lower-end noise, car and road noise. And so when they use that roll-off switch, they're kind of cutting above the noise. They're sure SM7B had a cutoff as well. Most microphones will have a cutoff switch like that, which you use at your own discretion. I personally, I'm kind of on the fence between, I'm going to turn it back off now. So that's with the roll-off switch off. So this is the flat response from the microphone. I'm kind of back and forth on it. I'm not sure if I prefer it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and turn all the signal processing back on and then put this light foam cover on. I use a really thin foam cover. I don't like using the thick ones because for me, they take out a lot of the clarity from the microphone. So just the thin one, it stops pretty much all plosives. This already has a pop filter built into it, but it's really light, and when I'm this distance from the microphone, sometimes I still get some slight plosives, so just this extra little filter helps clear that up. Okay, we should be back. This is with the sound that's being processed by the 528E. I just wanted to make this video to give you guys a quick little a quick look at the microphone and to show you what it sounds like when just the average consumer is using it with some light signal processing to make a YouTube video or something like that. Because it's not really, this thing is used typically for radio. It's typically used on drum kits, I think. It's used for a lot of different types of drums. And it is also used for voiceover work, I believe. I know a lot of voiceover work is done on condenser microphones, but I think people are starting to prefer dynamic microphones just because they're not quite as sensitive. Sometimes condenser microphones can be too sensitive, and it gets a little tiring to listen to, actually. And so a dynamic microphone can take a little bit of that edge off and make it be a little more relaxing to listen to over long periods of time for like ebooks and stuff like that. So I think that the one more thing that I wanted to mention about this is that it has what they call, I think, what does Electro Voice call it? They call it it has a variable D filter. So basically what that means, and I don't know how they actually achieve this, but essentially if you get very, very close to the microphone, you're not going to get as much, what do they call it, proximity effect as other microphones do. If you get really, really close to the Shure SM7B, if you get really, really close to any condenser microphone, you're going to get all of this crazy proximity effect, which is basically as you get closer to the microphone, your voice is going to get boomier, and there's going to be a lot more bass. And boomy, bassy voice isn't bad per se, but when you get to a certain amount of boominess, it just, to me, it sounds terrible. And to a lot of other people, it does too. And I think that's why they applied it. The variable D filter basically allows me to be back away from the microphone, really close to the microphone, off to the side or whatever. I can be wherever, and while the volume might change, the volume of my voice, obviously because of the off-axis rejection, will change. The characteristics of my voice will largely stay the same. They're obviously not going to be the exact same, but they won't change as much as they would on another microphone. And so that allows voiceover talent, or someone who's on the radio, or whoever you are, if you're a broadcaster or live streamer, it allows you to move around a little bit and get close and away from the microphone without getting too much of that proximity effect, which is obviously helpful. So I think that's about it. Just wanted to show off the RE20. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a thumbs up. I would love to hear some comments about it. If by chance you are interested in purchasing the microphone and you want to help out the channel, I will include an affiliate link to Amazon for this microphone below. You by no means have to use that if you want to purchase it, but it always helps out the channel and allows me to find other audio gear to test out for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.